Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents, there's going to be some audio issues and some video issues with this video because we are doing Visual Studio Installer and it's probably going to hang up on me. But I figured, what the hey? That's right, I said hey. Um, Ladies and gentlemen, I got something I want to ask you. And I'm hoping that some of the ones of you who are the brightest can answer this question before I go ahead and show you the answer. Most people have the understanding that promissory notes are supposed to be contracts. Go to Google, type it in, promissory notes or contracts. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a lie. Now, hold on. It's a promise to pay. Yeah, it is a promise to pay, and technically it may be construed as a contract. But promissory notes are not just simple contracts. See, they're doing it by modern day so-called definition. So we got to go back to the original definition. Why? Because Congress was using a definition that was understood at the time that they created the March 9th, 1933 Act, Trading with the Enemy Act Amendment, and the Federal Reserve Act Amendment. So when they said promissory notes, bills of exchange, and bank drafts and trade drafts was supposed to be this or that, that's what you got to hold on to. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's only 94 degrees inside. And it was 102 yesterday. And so, like I said, it's taking me a little time to adjust. No, it doesn't feel like 94 degrees. That's why I had to look. Still feel like probably 82. So my temperature settings are about 12 degrees off of what is normal. I want to do this again. Those of you who watch my videos, because we're going to be watching what is a promissory note. Did you know that promissory notes substitute for money? Wait, huh? Promissory notes are money. What? No, wait. Say it again. Promissory notes are money. Man, this ain't April Fool's. Stop joking like that. No, seriously. Promissory notes are money. No, they're not. No, because if they were money, then when people gave it to the banks, they would give them the deed of trust and they just go down and, and they'd have the house and they don't have to worry about it. Yes, that's what they could do. But it's your fault. Well, wait, what you mean it's my fault? Well, because you just signed the papers. You don't endorse it. What you mean I don't endorse it? Well, okay, look, there are several types of endorsement. One of them is a specific endorsement. Then the other one is a general endorsement. Well, technically, a general endorsement is similar to a blank endorsement. Okay, many of you guys are just doing a blank endorsement. Your signature is not the endorsement. Your signature is the authorization. Please understand that. Pay to the order of is the endorsement. And so if you're buying a house for the first time and you're signing those papers, right, pay to the order of the name of the company without recourse and sign it and be done with it. I told you guys this in 2012. Come on now, I did tell you this in 2012. Okay? But it's okay, you don't have to listen to me when I told you about the endorsement. Remember I spoke to the guy named Gene Elkins? Not Gene Elkins. Dang it, now I can't even think of Mr. Elkins' name. Yeah, because, see, I always miss his name with the other Gene. So now I can't even think of Elkins' name. Well, anyway, he was the compliance officer for HUD. Y'all remember when I spoke to him? And after we found 7 CFR 1901.508 at II, where it said that the holder of the note shall endorse the insured note, blah, 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 blah. Exactly the point. Ladies and gentlemen, I found a couple of things. The first thing I need to show you is this. Before we talk about promissory notes being money, You're still joking. Promissory notes are not money. No, promissory notes are contracts where a person promises to pay a certain sum to a certain other person. But promissory notes, whatever. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, somebody sent this to me earlier this morning. It's not the subject that I would normally talk about. This is the 13th Amendment Senate. When they did the 13th Amendment, the Senate got together. See the yays and nays. Ladies and gentlemen, they only had 1/5 of the members of Congress here. And of that 1/5, 2/3 of the members of Congress passed this junk. Ain't that interesting? Okay, somebody sent it to me, so technically, as I told him, at this point in time, I don't care. That's not, look, you can't get out of the system. I don't care how hard you try. They're not going to let you. They're going to keep giving you one hoop to huddle, one hoop to hurdle, one hoop to crawl under, one hoop to ball under, and they're going to keep giving you this hoop after that hoop and giving you, say, no, this policy after that policy. And then they're going to say, well, you got to take us to court. Ladies and gentlemen, this law review was written in 1930. Now remember, Congress came up with the act in 1933. We're going to give you a brief history of law so that you can understand how the so-called law is supposed to work. The way the law works is since Congress is presumed to make laws in the United States, their intent and the actual letter of the law, because you guys have all heard that, do not follow the letter of the law. Okay, that's what's the most important. Well, statutes are not law. That's why if you type in Google right now, statutes at large are prima or prima facie, falsy evidence of what the law is. Statutes at large are not the law. They never were. However, they're more powerful and acceptable than the code, because the code definitely ain't nobody's law. Trust me on that one. Okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to tell you is we have to go to the intent of Congress. So, when they say promissory notes are not money, they're talking about under the so-called Security Exchange Act and the Uniform Commercial Code. Well, we don't give a flying fart about no Uniform Commercial Code. That was done and accepted by the state in the 1966. We don't care about that. What we care about is 1933, where Congress are the one who was identifying that promissory notes are bills of exchange, and bills of exchange are any notes, draft, trade acceptances, bankers acceptances. That's what we care about. We want the intent and the context in which that intent was carried out. So 1930, 1933, hey, that's the basic understanding. Now, I want y'all to pay attention, okay? Minnesota Law Review. All you got to do is put the promissory note as a substitute for money. .pdf in Google, and you'll pull it up. Ladies and gentlemen, I will later today be updating the AmeriLegion site because I'm in charge of that. And these items, that other previous video that I just did, and this item will be up there. However, I just need you guys to understand, the only reason why I'm doing this video is because there are a lot of you who are facing foreclosure. And you've been on my mind. And so I want to make sure that if you're facing foreclosure, that you're not being hit too hard, that you can hit back. So the first thing you need to do is you need to understand that you gave them money. Shut up. You just need to understand. I don't care what you think. Don't let nobody tell you anything different. That's why the reason why I want you to get this. Now see what I have right here. This is, and like I said, my system's moving a little slow because of me doing that visual basic thing. But ladies and gentlemen, let me show you something. This is more of a photo than it is anything else, and so my system is not going to let me highlight these words. However, Wondershare Elements does let you highlight the words, and you guys can go to wondershare.com, download Wondershare Elements, and get the free version. And that way you can hit edit, and you can edit the document. Okay? Just that simple. That's how easy things is. And then you can copy and paste the actual words. The reason why you're going to copy and paste the actual words, I want y'all to hold on a second while my document pulls up. So I'm going to pause y'all for a second, all right? Oh, we ain't even got to pause. See, it heard me say it, and see how quickly it straightened this up? All right, ladies and gentlemen, the reason why you're going to copy it, because this has case law. Okay, that's right. And you want to use the case law along with the congressional intent of March 9, 1933, speaking of the Federal Reserve Act and the amendment to Section 401, paragraph 6 of Section 18. Okay? Why do you want to use that? For your benefit, of course. That is what you're relying on. Remember, that code says when you're relying on that paragraph, so only the stuff in that paragraph applies. So the understanding, because that's the amendment to the Federal Reserve Act, the understanding is according to that time period, that paragraph. Let's see if we can get this thing to move on up. Because the Jeffersons, you know, they finally got a piece of the pie. Apple and Jackson, you know, blueberry amaranth and whatever other kind of made up pies they done made. And up and all right, let's pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention because I'm going to highlight certain words in this paragraph right here. I hope y'all can pay attention. Promissory notes are also invariably described in judicial opinion and in legal text as being either substitutes for money, representatives of money, contracts circulating as money, and performing in part the functions of money. Instruments possessing the same circulable character as money, part of the currency of the country. Credit instruments performing the function of paper money, or a medium of exchange possessing the advantages of flexible paper currency and serving as a substitute for government bills and notes. Whew! So glad we didn't have to go through this whole document. It says it right there on the first paragraph. Let's show y'all what some of the case law, okay? Because, you know, we got Dean of Law School, the Dean of Law School, University of Arkansas. Arkansas? I don't know what they saw, but they got a Kansas, huh? Anyway, Fayetteville, research paper number 155, Journal Series, University of Arkansas, God versus Louisville Banking Company. Y'all need to look up God versus Louisville Banking Company, okay? And then you need to look up Smith versus Maryland. And then you need to look up Lincoln Bank versus Perry. And don't stop there, but you're going to look up First or One Parsons, Notes and Bills 257. Why are you going to look this up? Because the individual just gave you proof that in the United States, all of those things address the United States as money. And they have some other case law here where they talk about money and where they say promissory notes are money. Ladies and gentlemen, if promissory notes are a substitute for money, and in the United States there is no money, and under the Federal Reserve Act, amended by the March 9, 1933 Act, it highlights that you deposit the security which has value, and when you ask the bank for a payoff statement, and they don't list all of the money that was received, including the promissory note, and offsetting that against your account, shame, shame, shame. Okay? Now wait, hold on. Y'all don't understand. I got some information today where HUD has a document where they said the exact same thing. Let's see if I can pull that up. I think I might be able to pull it up. Let me put y'all on pause for a second, okay? Then we'll get back to talking about money. That didn't work. Like I said, I have some residual issues. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, while this is pulling back up, and let me restore these windows because it turned off my music in the background, and so I don't appreciate that. The first thing, when you put in promissory notes to substitute for money, these are the type of articles you're going to pull up. Stay away from just the regular .com. Now this is upcounsel.com. These are going to be attorneys, and this is where the attorneys are going to try to mislead you, making you think that a promissory note is your promise to pay. Okay, that's why they're going to only focus on the promissory part. They're not going to focus on the note part. Okay, but a negotiable instrument gives someone credit or serves as a substitute for money. This is UpCounsel saying this. A negotiable instrument gives someone credit or serves as a substitute for money. Okay, so there you go. That's one thing. Now this is the J.S. Waterman. This is the document we were reading. So you're going to find that this is the same document by J.S. Waterman. These two are the same document. They're not different. But this is what I want you to pay attention. If you want to pay attention to this, this is a .net. Now, okay, it says legal templates. I'm not really confident about this .net because I have no idea, but let's read what they say. A promissory note is a document used to create a legally binding agreement that a borrower will repay the lender a determined amount of some amount. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not what these promissory notes, that's the new definition of a promissory note. That's not the original definition of a promissory note. Promissory notes are exactly that, a substitute for money. Okay, y'all just keep that in mind because many of you guys are facing foreclosure. So SATCOM is got a paralegal that has volunteered to put together some templates for people. And yes, you'll have to pay for their templates because they'll be tailored to your needs. Not completely. They're not going to do everything for you. Just going to put together a template which is going to bring up the points you hear me talking about. Highlighting it, putting the case law in it for your benefit. Okay? So that y'all can access the court. Because with these points, you don't need to argue. You don't need to know all the stuff about the law. You just need to bring the points up so that they can't counter. Then you do your subpoenas and ask for the evidence. What do you mean, do subpoenas and ask for the evidence? That will be explained later, okay? And look, they say promissory note is a form of a debt. That's not the issue, because that's the SEC talking. We don't care what the SEC has to say. Okay, oh, and by the way, HUD, I was trying to do HUD, because HUD, with their promissory notes, I don't have it. I have it's in Skype. Because I put it in Skype this morning. But guess what HUD did? They explained it point blank that the promissory notes are money and constitutes the conclusion of the transaction. Okay? That's what they say. So HUD. By the way, when they tell you that something is not an acceptable form of payment, how come you guys are not showing them the stuff that I've been showing you that Congress is saying? Okay, I didn't ask for a promissory note sample. I know for a fact I didn't ask for a promissory note sample. Let me pause y'all again. Y'all gotta hold on a second. It ain't letting me let y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, I done found it. Surplus cash note. Just put that in there. Surplus cash note. HUD.gov. Okay, pay attention. The term surplus cash note is defined as a regulatory agreement dated, insert the date, between HUD and the borrower. Now hold on. As used herein, promissory note refers to surplus cash note or residual receipt notes. Look at that. Promissory notes are not to be executed for cost. Excuse me? And they go ahead and tell you that it is cash itself. Surplus cash, pay attention. If you're signing a promissory note, it's not surplus cash. And this is not, if you read it, it's not the HUD promising to pay someone else. See, the government can't write promissory notes. What, y'all didn't know that? Banks can't write promissory. Wait, y'all didn't know that? Oh, no, no, no. Oh, man. Banks and corporations can't write these promissory notes because there's no authority in the agreement between the people and government for them to do so. This was made for the people. That's why it's notes, bonds, trade acceptances, and bankers' acceptances and drafts. Trade acceptance and a trade draft appear to be the same thing. Okay? A note and security instrument to be insured shall be in the form of the amount of any promissory note, cash contribution, amount to be paid to, amount of any promissory note. Why does the promissory note have an amount? Imagine that. Well, because you're agreeing to pay. I know. And that's the bright people. That's the people who think they're smarter than everybody else. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm down to 2 gigabytes of memory. I need to bring that memory up because as y'all can see, I am using, I think it's what, 14 gigabytes altogether? And so I was all the way down. Now, because I'm using parallel desktop, it uses half of the gigabytes. Okay, so it uses half. I have 16. It gives me, it just don't give me everything. And so I got to let it do that because we got to get back up to speed. You know what I'm saying, Vern? All right. So let's do a recap real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, many of you do not realize that when you're going into court, they're using the so-called statutes of today. You don't want to use the statutes of today. You rely on the statute of yesterday. The Trading Act Amendment, the Federal Reserve Act. You want the definition for that act. You want to use the definition of promissory note under that act. Okay, the whole process is under that act. The government said that it would stand as surety. Just, hey, can't be more simple than that. And here you just found out promissory notes as of 1930 were construed as money. So you deposited money with the bank. You know, but they ain't been paid. Because, ladies and gentlemen, all you do is evidence. And you demand the court order them to provide their financial records. And once they provide their financial records, it will show that they've received some sort of benefit, or they filed a 1099, or they didn't file certain documents and tax forms that they were required to file. Either way, the jig is up. Okay? That's what this video is saying. So until, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are waiting on the credits, we'll have some more information coming to you on the Eon channel. This is on the Redress channel, but on the Eon channel, you'll be receiving an update soon. That information to you should be going out this week. We'll start sending it out this coming week. I'm hoping to have at least 80 sent out this week, but I cannot promise that because it's a lot of document, a lot of printing. So that is my hope, that is my goal, and I will aim to achieve my goal. With that being said, I don't want to keep all of you, but as you have the recap is once you understand everything that you have, you can now go into court. The court cannot go contrary to congressional will. Okay, pay attention to what the Supreme Court has been doing. They ruled right in line with the letter of the law because that's why they say there is a conservative majority. They're not going to get inventive with the law. That's what the other courts were doing under Rehnquist. So conservative, I can handle conservative. Why? Because you know what you're going to get with a conservative person. Laziness. But I can handle conservative laziness. Okay? All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, I really am so glad we had this time together, but it's time for me to say so long. Okay? if my computer lets me. Adios.